Welcome to the first episode of Placemento. This podcast is dedicated to all the aspiring software engineers out there. Today, we have a very special guest with us, someone who has excelled in the field of software engineering and is here to share her invaluable knowledge and insights. Let us introduce our guest, Sneha Chattopadhyay. She is an upcoming software engineer at JPMC London, a Google Generation Scholar, technical content writer, and reviewer at Scalar, as well as a student mentor at SEO Job. Discussing your motivation and passion for choosing a career in software engineering. I understand you initially enrolled in a mechanical engineering course. Can you share what led to the switch in fields and pursuing of software engineering?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the introduction, Shataki. So, when I enrolled in mechanical engineering program, most of the students out there, I had no clue what I want to do at the end of 4 years. So I was getting mechanical and electrical in NIT Durgapur through my JE ranks, and just by applying the simple logic that I loved mechanics more than electrical subjects of class 12, I just enrolled in mechanical engineering. So when I was in my first year, I was exploring a lot of different things. Like I was attending all the club events, and I was seeing my friends doing competitive programming. So I thought, let's give it a try as well. So I used to do these things for fun. And then came the audition of SAE Club where I wanted to join, but I knew very little of automobile or robotic stuff. So I thought that let's try for the web development audition, and in 2 days I learned the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and like applied for the auditions. So yeah, that is how I got started with the basics of coding. And uh, by the end of first year I had explored a bit more of it, and I was getting an idea that this is something I might want to pursue my career on. But still I wasn't sure. I was still open to exploring mechanical as well. But when I came to second year, so I got selected for this LinkedIn coaching program in which I got 4 months mentorship from software engineers of LinkedIn. So in those 4 months, like I networked with them and I got to know the job roles of a software engineer, how a day in their life is, and I felt really motivated and inspired. Like after talking to them, and with time, I got the clarity that this is something I would want my career to be based on. So yeah, that's how it started.
Uh, Thank you, Dee. So, like we have seen that amidst all your accomplishments, you managed to maintain an impressive CGPA of 8.84 in mechanical engineering. How did you find the time to balance and excel in both academics and your career prospects?
That is basically on based on time management. Like you have to see what your priorities are. So for me, my first priority was always like getting a good off-campus offer, but I knew that I wanted to maintain a good CGPA as well because like I did not like focus all the time on mechanical, but I tried to balance both of them. Like one suggestion that I can give you is like be attentive in classes. So whatever is taught in the classes, mostly that is reciprocated in the exams. So you don't have to like dedicate a lot of other time apart from classes to it, because like attending classes is anyways mandatory with the 75% attendance and all. So if you focus on the classes, you can like score good CGPA without a lot of extra effort on your part.
So, thank you, Dee. Moving on, Somadeep will take over from here.
Good
Yeah.
evening, Dee.
Good evening.
So my first question for you is that among all your accomplishments, there is one Google Generation Scholarship. So Dee, can you please tell us more about the application process and the selection process that you adopted that led ultimately to your selection?
Yeah, sure. So, like after I received this LinkedIn coaching mentorship program, I had started DSA preparation in a bit more structured way. So, I had like taken up this DSA course from Geeks for Geeks, and I was like mostly prepared at the level where I could like crack interviews of product-based companies. So that was in second year, and then I was like also applying to a lot of other opportunities that came up, and then I saw this Google Generation Scholarship for Women in Computer Science. So the application process consisted of a coding round at first, and it also had some CS fundamental questions. So yes, for those who are applying to it, I would also suggest you all to be well acquainted with CS fundamentals. It's not only based on DSA. So that was the online round, and after that, I received this interview call. I received this mail that I have an interview with a Google HR. She was from Australia, and it was like a 30 minutes interview where she asked about my journey and like how passionate I am about tech and so on. So it was a very chill interview. It was nothing like very much technical focused or something. But in that, they will actually try to judge how passionate you are towards tech. It should not be like you are just learning DSA for the sole purpose of cracking companies, but it's also like what other things you have done. Like in my second year, I had explored a lot of other different things as well. Like I had mentored students in open source, then I had explored this game development, machine learning, I had done research internships, so I had varieties of stuff in my resume. So all that stood out to her, and this is how in my opinion, that's something that helped me get the Google Generation Scholarship.
I understand that this camp was an international one. How did you feel after interacting with people from different countries? Like, what was, the main goal, one career goal for these people different from our university or Indian universities in general? How is it different?
Okay,
The
so
life goals, the career goals. Yeah.
yeah, it's a very interesting question. So when I went there, my peer group consisted of a lot of students from UK, USA, and like European countries and so on. And people were from like really good universities like Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial College, and etc. etc. So one thing I noticed while talking with all of them is that uh, this getting a job was not the end goal for most of them. Like in my case, uh, my sole motive of getting a master's, which the goal that I had previous hand, was that I need to switch to the software engineering field. But for them, it's like, yeah, we are doing this internship, but we will definitely go for masters. Like after bachelor's, the masters is the normal career route for them. So that is one thing that stood out with people from the European countries and From UK. that, another thing I noticed is that they really focus.
So yeah, so you would say that these people really love the degree that they have taken and they really want to go forward in it, and it has become a sort of a life mission for them to go ahead in that path. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
So
because they know what they want beforehand. It's not like engineering colleges of India, like we get a degree based on our rank, and then we figure out what do we want to do. So it's solely based on their passion, which I think is very important because they have clear goals from the beginning itself and what they want to do afterwards. So that's one thing. And another thing that stood out was that they were very enthusiastic towards learning each small stuff in detail. Like suppose there's a task I need to do in my internship, but that task is not that important to me. Like I have other important tasks. So I would dedicate a less time to it and complete it and like that. But they would take it up like a bit more seriously, like ask a lot of questions to get into the depths of it so that they can learn more from it, like every small detail and so on. So yeah, that's something I learned from them, and that's a very good approach I would suggest. Like to dig into the depths of everything if you're getting the opportunity, because that's how you learn and grow.
so you are telling us to be more passionate about whatever career path we end up choosing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the
Just don't do it for the sake of doing it. Just enjoy it.
so shifting our focus to technical writing, I guess this would be a new term for most of us, including me. Can you briefly explain what technical writing is and how others can benefit from learning more about it?
Okay, yeah, sure. So technical writing is basically blogs you read about. Like we all go to GFG for referring to some articles about DSA or something. Like any coding question we are stuck on, we go to GFG to find it and we read the approaches behind it. So someone has written that, right? So that is the role of a technical writer, to like explain the concept in simpler terms and to like explain it to the wider audience basically. So in my role as a technical writer in Scalar, I wrote on like C, C++, DSA, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, SQL, and so on. So basically, for every topic, we would be for every. So these are called hubs basically, C++ hubs, DSA hubs, like that. We have a lot of hubs. And for every hubs, they will give us the topic, not that we have to like structure the whole thing. So the topic is given to us by them, and in that topic what all subheadings are to be there, that is also listed by the content creator in Scalar. So my part was to just write on those topics and to like elaborate on the subparts that were mentioned to me, and with like with code snippets and like making it more fun to read, like adding images and so on. So suppose I'm giving an example like hierarchical inheritance in C++. So if you just search it up, there'll be a whole like big article on it of 2000 words or so, which will like explain the full concept in detail. So that is what the role of a technical writer is. And in my 4 years, I wrote in Scalar as well as Sheg. So this was basically some freelancing I did so that I could fund my own like tuition fees, and I wouldn't have to ask my parents for everything. So yeah, that's about it. Uh, that's
So the
basically
tech,
like to have some extra pocket money.
so the basically a technical writer is like a content writer who writes content related to programming languages, explaining how the code works and giving some examples related to it.
Yeah,
That's the basic
exactly.
gist of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as we also came to know throughout the interview, Snehadi is an excellent student. But did you know she is also a great teacher? It is impressive to see her involvement as a mentor in SEO job and as a part of a LinkedIn coaching program. What sparked your interest in coaching students and how has mentoring them been an experience for you? Like an interesting experience for you?
Yeah, so what sparked was like there was this GirlScript Winter of Code and GirlScript Summer of Code in which I was a contributor, and soon after that, like GirlScript Winter of Code took place, in which I saw that the role of mentor was open. So I just thought that I can give a shot at it, and like I ended up getting selected, and I really enjoyed like mentoring the students there, like clearing all their doubts, helping them with their PRs and so on. So like after the 3 months contribution, I was selected as the top mentor from India. So that was like a huge motivation towards me that I can benefit students, or students are actually getting helped by with my benefits. So yeah, that was it. And after that, I became a mentor for rewriting the code, which is like a community for women in coding, mostly based on USA, but Indian students are there as well. Like it's expanding in India right now. So yeah, I was a mentor there, and I helped students there. Some people were in service-based companies; they wanted to switch to product-based companies. So yeah, I helped them with that, and I also helped other students uh, who were like me, who were from core background but wanted to switch to technical background. So yeah, like how what things can be done and all. So yeah, that's what sparked my interest was this mentoring, and that's how I continued. And currently I am mentoring in AccuJob. So here also my main role is to take like mock interviews of people. So these people are like working in service based companies and they want to switch to product based, but they have no idea how interview process of product based companies are. So it's like to take mock interviews and to show them like this is how a technical interview is in a product based company, and like where they lagged, how they can improve, and to give mentorship on the specific topics and so on. So yeah, I feel I really enjoy doing it.
Can you tell us a bit more about what service-based and product-based companies are?
Yeah, so service-based company is like the company itself is a product. Like Google is a product, Amazon is a product, as we all know. So Google is the product-based company because it's working on its own product, not giving service to some other companies. While service-based companies are this IT companies like TCS, Cognizant, HCL,
TCS.
Infosys. Yeah, all this can be classified as service-based. So yeah, that's the difference between service-based and product-based.
So, like service-based companies are starting career points for many people, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
then they move on to the product-based companies as
Yeah,
they get more and more experience. That's the general career path, right?
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
Let's now dive into some common doubts that the aspiring software engineers have. So, first of all, how can a student prepare for those software engineering roles like software development engineer or the related roles? Means
Okay.
during this recession time, it's very important to master all the skills. So it's very important to have a certain path for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like you need two major things to like succeed in getting software engineering role. So one is like mastering a language and the data structure and algorithm skills, which will help you in clearing the coding round and the interviews. So I'll come to it later. The second thing is like building a good resume, which will actually help you in getting your resume shortlisted for these companies. So that includes doing a lot of projects, and not only projects which you are just seeing from Udemy and copying it, but some projects that actually has some real world implementation. So that can be something that you do as a part of some club. Suppose you are building a website for your club, and like 100 or 200 people are using it in your college, so you can write that metrics in your resume that this I developed this and 200 people participated in it. So that metrics is like a huge pointer for your resume. So projects is one thing. Apart from that, if you can do some like research internship or like some internship in startup when you're in your second year, so that gives a lot of boost to it. And if you are not going for the internship route, there are also other routes, like you can participate in some in a lot of hackathons, and you can share those achievements, the things that you built as a part of hackathon. There are also many open source programs like this GirlScript is there, then GSOC is there, MLH fellowship is there, which is really another great program. So like all this can be done to add pointers to your resume. Now coming back to like preparing for interviews, so like data structures and algorithms is really important. So everything boils down to how well you are prepared in that. And it is not something that you give 16 hours a day like JE and prepare overnight, but you have to do it consistently. You might have mastered it and like become very good at it, but if you stop practicing and suddenly your interview comes, then you won't be able to be good at it. So like practice few questions every day, like keep on doing lead code, do one or two questions at least, and so on. So for DSA, one good course that I can suggest is the GFG course that I did. And apart from that, like a lot of students ask like is it okay to follow some sheet like Striver's sheet or Love
Yep.
Bubbles sheet, or so many sheets are out there. So for that, I would suggest that initially in your journey, don't follow sheets. Like practice from lead code, do random questions, because that is how you will be able to think like what to apply where. And it's not like you're seeing that this is a string question or array question and you're directly thinking in that way. So yeah, do random questions, and once you have confidence in your problem solving skills, at a later stage when you need to revise, you can just follow a sheet and do it. So following a sheet doesn't actually mean that you have to solve all questions, but you can just go through the questions and read up the solutions or so on if you have little time. So this was the approach that I used to follow. Like I never followed sheet during my preparation, but when I would receive the interview call of some company, I would just go through the questions of the sheet to see if there's some topic I'm
So
lacking.
these DSA sheets are helpful while revising all the DSA topics, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Skills is very important, and we can showcase our
Hmm.
skills by making great projects.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
how
hmm.
can someone go about making impressive projects to showcase their abilities and skills in the tech stacks?
Yeah, like I said, like try doing something which has some real world implementation. So for starters, like if you don't know anything, you can get started with some web development or some backend development. Or if you find interest in other things like AI, ML, or blockchain, or just go what interests you, learn about it, and then try creating something which will actually have some use. So if you're not getting a platform to build something that will have some use, one good way is to like participate in hackathons, because in that way you can write that you build this as a part of some hackathon. Because most of the times what happens, if you just write that you built a weather app or a to do app or something and just write it in your resume, that does not usually stand out. Like this is, you have
Yeah.
just built it as a part of a course and not something you have actually built it from your own or given some thought process behind it. So that's how you should go for like creating projects.
Okay, so in hackathon there is a time limit
Hmm.
in which we have to complete the project or the topic in which we have to make that project. So
Yeah.
how can someone find those hackathons to prepare?
Uh,
Yeah.
so hackathons you can find, you can go to MLH hackathons. Like there are a lot of hackathons taking place every weekend. So those are all online. Apart from that, you can register through HackerEarth or HackerRank. Like hackathons are listed on there. There's also Dev Post or something. I don't remember the name, where like hackathons are listed. And apart from that, we also have the like famous hackathons of like Uber HackTag, Mintra HackerRamp, and so on. So like keep an eye for them. Like various YouTubers list them on their like daily YouTube videos. So like these are the opportunities that are going on. I used to follow Arsh Goel in my time. So yeah, like keep on following those channels so you'll be updated.
Okay, so you told that a well-crafted resume is very important for landing into software engineering interviews.
Yeah.
Has it? generally gets scanned by the ATS machine. So what
Mm-hmm.
tips do you have for creating an outstanding resume that stand out to the recruiters?
Okay, so one thing that I can suggest is like don't put everything in your resume, but put only the things that aligns with your job. Like suppose I did some projects of mechanical engineering and so on, but I want my resume to be for software engineering jobs. I will not put all the mechanical stuff like I made this through CATIA, and also the recruiter will get confused what their passion is actually is. So like align your resume to the job description. If you're applying for a research internship, create a different sort of resume. For jobs, create a different sort of resume. So that is how you should go about it. And like try including all the important keywords that is there in the job description. And also when you're listing your projects, write about the metrics like 50 people participated in it and this happened because of my project. So like give the metrics. Also, apart from that, you can list your achievements like hackathon participations, then competitive programming ranks, and so on. Then, like Facebook hacker tag or something was there. So all those coding competitions ranks you can mention in your resume. So all those stands out in resume. Stands out in resume.
Okay, so in the interviews, it's very important to showcase the intuition and the mindset while solving a problem rather than mugging up any problem. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to develop the problem solving skills while practicing DSA. So how can someone practice DSA uh, and improve the problem solving skills?
Yeah, so for practicing DSA, just keep on doing lead code or interview bit. Initially, you can do competitive programming to develop your problem solving skills. Like when you're if you're getting started, like you're in the second year or something. So doing competitive programming helps a lot to develop that intuition. And once you do competitive programming, you will find lead code pretty easy actually. Like it's not something very difficult for someone who has actually gone through CP problems. So yeah, just keep on doing lead code and read a lot of solutions. Like even if you are doing a question, like even if it's getting accepted, you're knowing that you're doing the right solution. Still go to the discuss section and then read the solutions of other people. You will find that there are like 5 to 6 approaches discussed, and a lot of them are like really better than your approach. And the more you read, the more you learn. So it's not only about solving, but just keep on reading a lot. That's how you will like open your mind to a lot of new approaches and yeah, algorithms and so on.
Okay, so during a contest, if we can't do all the problems, then it's very important to absorb the unsolved problems, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's how
so
you learn from the
so
contests.
So there are various platforms for competitive programming like AdCoder, CodeForces, CodeSafe. So which
Hmm.
platform is the best to practice and from where we can practice to master DSA also and
Okay,
improve our
so
problem solving skills?
yeah,
Other
I
than lead.
was not really a very sincere competitive programmer. I just did it in the initial days of my second year, and after that, I moved to lead code. But through my experience, I really enjoyed code forces. The problems there were really good. But when I was getting started with it, I was doing in CodeShef because for beginners, I feel that CodeShef is better. So it has a really simple UI, and the questions are more beginner friendly and the solutions are well explained. But once you are getting comfortable with it, you can move to code forces, and their contests are pretty good. I wouldn't know about the others that are out there. And for DSA preparation, I feel that lead code is the best according to me, but a lot of other people suggest interview bit as well. So yeah, both are equally good.
Okay, so now this is a debatable question among the aspiring software engineers. Like which one should they focus more on? So see, open source contribution or competitive programming?
Okay, so competitive programming is for building your problem solving skills,
Yeah.
and open source contribution, hackathon participation, all these are for building a good resume and for building dev skills. So you really can't choose between one or the other. You also
Yeah.
have to build a good resume and know what software engineering is actually, and you also have to have the skills to qualify an interview. So just don't go into that stereotypical answers like CP is better, only do CP or only do dev. Try to do combination of both. That works the best usually.
Okay, so in open source contribution, we can
Mm-hmm.
also update the documentations and we can also update the code of any tech stack or anything, any code base which is
Yeah.
available to the user. So
Hmm.
we know that in open source contribution, the quality is much more important than the quantity of those pull requests that we are doing. So how can we find good issues with any code base?
Okay, so when you're getting started with a code base, you can just move to the issues section, and there a lot of issues will be listed. So you
Hmm.
can go through the issues and you can read for yourself and figure out like this is something I would like to work on. And if you're just a beginner, then you can look for issues that has the beginner tag with it. So that helps you get acquainted with the project first if it's a big project. So yeah, it's very important to go through the beginner issues first so that you can get your hand around the project, and after that you move to a little bit complicated issues. So if you want to like work on very demanding issues, then there's also that label like urgently needed or something. So that issues are the most priority issues, so you can go for those.
Okay. So nowadays, various product-based companies are also asking questions from the system design, whether it's low-level design or
Mm-hmm.
high-level design. So how important it is in the software engineering interviews, and how can someone effectively prepare for those LLD and HLD rounds?
Yeah, sure. So, for most companies don't ask LLD to freshers. It's only HLD that is asked, and that too only for a few number of companies. Like most companies I applied for didn't ask system design. They only asked like JP Morgan asked me some about design patterns and software development lifecycle, but not exactly system design. But for system design preparation, I would suggest you can go through that course of educative.io, Grokking the System Design Interview. It's a really good course, and you will know a lot of things if you do that. Like if you cover that, most everything will be almost covered in that course. Apart from that, if you're more of like a YouTube person, then Gaurav Sen's tutorials are there in YouTube,
Yeah.
so that's also really good. Uh, Other than that, there's this book of Alex Su called System Design Approach or something. Just look it up. It's a very famous book. The author is Alex Su. So that book is really important for all software engineers. Like even when you're working, you should like go through that book to know the best practices that are used. And before you jump into any of this, first clear your CS fundamentals like DBMS, OS, networking, OOP. So be clear with all of those, then jump into system design. Else you'll face a lot of issues like you'll not know half of the keywords and then you'll have to go back and search. So make sure you've covered CS fundamentals well first, and then you can go to system design. But it's only for like full-time roles, and for internship roles, no company will ask you system design.
Okay. So in interview, it's also important to showcase our technical skills, and other than that, we also have to show our communication aspects also.
Yeah.
So there are various leadership principles of the top product-based companies which we should be aware of before applying. So
Mm-hmm.
can you share a few tips for effectively preparing for those communication part, and how can we improve into this aspect? Like how can we improve our behavior during those rounds? Means the in the behavioral round. Yeah.
Uh, okay, I'm not going solely into the behavioral round. I'm first telling about the technical round as well. So,
Okay.
whenever you're given a coding question, don't think that the interviewer is there to judge you, like whether you're doing the right answer or so on. They're just looking for their future teammate, right? So, what should be the qualities of an ideal teammate? They should be like effective in communicating. They should be able to like clear what they're working on, and they should be able to discuss like everything, like this is the time complexity, and this is how I improve it. Like they should be open to hints and so on. So that is how you should take a technical interview, like a discussion with the interviewer, and whatever hints he gives you, like make sure to like work on that hint. Just don't ignore the hints. So that's a very plus point that interviewers look for. And apart from that, like uh, speak out everything loudly, whatever you're coding. Like explain your approach very well. Don't never be silent during an interview. Like even if you're not getting the ideal approach, just tell them that this is what I have in mind, but probably you're looking for something better, and I'm thinking in this way, that way. Give them example, dry run the code and everything. So like talk a lot basically. And coming to behavioral round, yes, they look for candidates who can match with the company goals basically. So before you're giving the behavioral round of a company, just go to their careers page and see what their like vision is, or what are the principles they believe in. Like for Amazon, we have the famous Amazon leadership principles, and similarly for all other companies, there are some principles that they believe in, like may it be inclusivity or like a good leadership culture or so on. And make sure that you portray those specific points in your interview. Like if they ask you to tell you about your project, make sure that you describe the project in such a way that those points are demonstrated. Like so this is how I took leadership of the project, or this is how I did that, and so those points should be covered.
Okay, so have you been involved in any research or academic publications related to software engineering?
Yeah, so I have done a few research internships in my second and third year. So I had done one from NIT Durgapur itself, from one of the computer science faculties. And apart from that, I had done from IIT Patna and one from Cambridge University and Hong Kong University. So yeah, those are the ones I did.
Okay, so how can someone be aware of those
Uh,
opportunities?
Yeah, so none of the ones that I applied for were some open positions which were like hiring at that moment. Like you have like open positions for IT Bombay or something, like they're looking for summer interns. All of those I got by mailing professors. So that's the most common route I think to get like this research internships. So like mail professors, like mail a lot of professors and explain that you want to work on this and that, and that you have gone through the research papers and this particular part that aligned to you and you want to contribute to that. So in this way, like craft a proper mail and send them to professors. And you can also look out for those like summer internship opportunities, but those are actually rare and uh, take a very less amount of people in software field. They're mostly for core students and they hire a lot of students in the core field. So yeah, for software research internships you'll have to mail a lot of professors. And don't
O-
send a generic mail to all of them. Like see their profile and then craft a mail that suits according to their profile.
Okay. So other than hackathons, there are also several industry conferences in the software industry.
Hmm.
So have you attended any industry conferences, or if you have attended, then you can share your key takeaways from those events, and how can someone be aware of those opportunities?
No, I actually haven't attended any of them.
Okay. So are
And
the
for getting aware, like LinkedIn is there. Like be active on LinkedIn. Someone will share it and you'll get to know about it.
okay, so are they important while preparing for any software job to attend any industry conference?
It will never hurt. Like it's good. The more you attend this, the more you network with people, and the more you connect with people out there. So you'll get to know about more openings and so on. But yeah, it's not like absolutely necessary. Like apart from it, you won't get. It's not like that.
Okay. So as a software engineer, we have to generally adapt to new technologies every now and then.
Hmm.
So can you share your experience in working with different tech stacks and how you have adapted to the new technologies?
Yeah, sure. So when I started with competitive programming, I was like using C++ for it. So during my initial years in college, like C++ was pretty much the only thing I worked on. But when I became a part of SAE, I had to like work on backend development as well. So I needed to learn Python and Django for that reason. So yeah, and it's not very difficult thing to switch to technologies. Like once you master a language and you know the data structures and algorithm, mastering another language is just a matter of time. If you just give a few weeks worth of time to it, you will do great in it. And so yeah, that was my experience in second year. And after that, the I had to learn new things for various different research internships I did. But the learning will keep on going parallel. It's not that they will dedicate you 1 week time, you learn everything, and now you deliver the work. So you learn small things and then you deliver and then you learn more. So yeah, never keep that mindset to complete your learning, because it will go on parallelly. You cannot stop learning in the software field. And even in my internship in London, so like everything we did was internal tech stacks, so I had to learn all of them, new frameworks and stuff. So it was not that they gave me 1 week of time to go through the materials or something. My work started from first week itself, first day itself, and by the end of first week I had to actually push code into production. So yeah, that learning will always go on parallelly.
Yeah.
So thank you, Shamik. Now I would like to ask, there's this portion of weakness and strengths that is present in the resume. What do you think I should add for the weaknesses, or anyone should add for the weaknesses? Because that's a pretty hard part to navigate. Because,
Okay. Yeah. So weakness and strength doesn't actually matter in off-campus resume. Like you don't get enough space to add those sections because you have to fit everything in one page. But for college resume, that can go up to 3 to 4 pages. So yeah, you can. Those sections are mentioned by college as well. So don't add anything overly negative in weakness. I would say add something which company knows that they can rectify and it wouldn't be a big problem for you after you join. So uh, something honest like public speaking can be your weakness or something like that. So yeah, something along that terms which can be improved and not too negative. And don't use too some words like which are actually strength but you're trying to showcase as weakness, like yeah, too trusting or something
I'm
like that.
too good at talking to people, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm overly communicative stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This is about the weaknesses part. What about the strengths? Now, I understand this has to be something, some kind of personality trait. What kind of personality trait generally appeals to, the people who are hiring from their point of view?
Yeah, so they usually want someone who can adapt well in a team. So teamwork is extremely important. And apart from that, how much leadership you're taking of the work you're doing. So like how much you're coming up with own ideas. So intuitiveness, leadership, teamwork, all this like stand out usually in resume.
We now, we now moving on to like messaging the HRs for in a particular company. How do we filter out the opportunities and how do you filter out the companies based on our skill level? Let us start with the basic, very he just knows C++ and DSA, a person like that. How does he go about, finding companies and filtering them and messaging HRs? What can be the format in that sense?
Okay, so what I did was mostly applied through career pages. I didn't actually message a lot of HRs, but for like when you're applying for startups and so on, you can like reach out to HRs on LinkedIn. So for that, basically, you have to write sort of a cover letter like this, and these are your skills, and this company is interesting you, so you want to work on that. So yeah, so like that, and you attach your resume at the end. So that is how you go about messaging an HR. But about opportunities, I would usually like keep a lookout at the career pages of the companies, or I would follow different YouTubers who would keep on posting about this opportunities. Like this is for 2022 batch, 2021 batch, and I would keep on applying to them. So yeah, like following them are really important, or like staying active at LinkedIn where like people post about the opportunities so that you don't miss out on them. And you obviously can't go and check every HR's page to see are they posting about any job opening and so on. So yeah, that is how you go about navigating about job opportunities. And if you feel that you want to mail an HR or like message on LinkedIn to get a referral, you can like describe your skill cases and then yeah, ask them for referral or so on.
So you would say for a software-based internship, it's probably good to go out and mail to the professors. But however, if we are applying to a bigger, let us say MNC, it's
Hmm.
good to go through a career page, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the general rule. So
Hmm.
the moving on in the same topic, how do you end up finding NW-related opportunities in India and abroad? Because we have all seen that you have a lot of abroad experience, which is generally not common among NIT students in our college.
Hmm.
So how do you go about approaching these opportunities and filtering them out? And again, finding an opportunity that suits you. How do you find the entire case study, like the case for the company?
Yeah, so I was very fascinated towards this foreign internships right from the beginning of my BTech journey. Like getting rejected by IITs was already like such a heartbreaking moment, and mostly because I knew that people there like get foreign internships at the end of third year. At that time, I had no idea that it's very much possible from other colleges as well. Just you have to be good at what you do, basically. So when I was in my second year and third year, I would like keep on checking the career pages of all companies in their foreign locations. Like we all know that USA does not sponsor visa anymore directly. Like it sponsors in a very rare case, like maybe one in a year or so on. But they you can usually get a job in USA once you're doing masters there. So your best bet is some European country or the UK. So yeah, just keep an eye at the career pages of those locations, like for Amsterdam, Berlin, London, Glasgow, and so on. And if they are writing that we sponsor a work visa, or if they're not explicitly mentioning that this is only open to students studying at those countries, then you can definitely go ahead and apply. And so
So,
basically, it's about listing out companies and going to their career pages. Like you won't be able to see a lot of those opportunities on YouTube or LinkedIn.
so like we have to go to the particular company's pages, then we have to go to the hiring section, and then we find out the opportunities.
Yeah.
And then, is there a place to, do something on the website, like just apply from the website itself, or do we have to mail someone, and then
No, just
give
apply from
our.
the website, from the career pages.
So you just basically have to go there. There will be a total laid out proper schedule for the whole thing, and you'll just have to follow that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dev, since you're currently working in JPMC London, can you tell us a bit more about the interview process of JPMC London? How you navigated through the whole process?
Okay.
What kind
So.
of questions were
Hmm.
there?
So I applied to JPMC around September 2021, and then within a week I had received the coding round link of it. So at first there was this high view coding round which consisted of two questions, two coding questions, and like after completing each question, you will be given like 2 to 3 minutes time to explain the approach to it. So that thing is like really important, like explaining the approach in a proper way, like you're explaining to an actual interviewer, because that thing whole thing gets recorded and it's actually viewed by a hiring manager, not by an AI. So yeah, just explain it very well, like tell it, just start from this could have been the naive approach, but you did it in an optimal way, and these are the time complexities and everything. Just cover everything in those 2 to 3 minutes. So yeah, those two questions were there, and you have to basically complete all the test cases of both questions to get selected for the interviews. Like this was for everyone else whom I heard had got an interview call, and the interview call came pretty late. Like by then I had lost all hopes of actually getting a call. It was January, I guess, or December, that my interview has been scheduled for January, and it was a 3 hours interview, so 1.5 hour back to back one, so two rounds were there. So the first round was purely technical, and like a coding question was there, and apart from it, like questions were there from CS fundamentals. And they told me in the interview that we are giving you three language options, and you have to choose one. So that was Python, Java, and C Sharp. So my comfortable language being C++, I got a little tense at that moment, but thankfully I had explored a lot of Python in second year as well. So I went for Python, and they asked questions related to Python. I didn't have to code Python. The coding part was in C++ only. So after that, there were questions from CS fundamentals, and then design patterns, then software development lifecycle, then questions related to backend development, and so on. So this was the first round. After that, second round was mostly a behavioral type of round, but it revolved around projects. And in the beginning of the round, they said that we have a lot of questions to ask, so be concise with your answers. And it was like they are continuously throwing one after the other question, like tell a moment where you exhibited this leadership, tell a moment where you took a project and completed on your own, where you had to work without a supervisor. So this type of questions, like project related, but you have to be very concise at it, and like showcase your like positive qualities within the right amount of time. So yeah, these were the two rounds, and at the end of that, they said that we will give results within the end of this week. So if you get selected, you will receive a call. If you get rejected, you will receive a mail. So yeah, finally I received a call that day.
So, like, firstly, there's a coding round. How many rounds of coding are there?
There was one high view round of coding.
So, one heavy round of coding. After that, there was an interview. After how many months was that?
So after September, the interview took place on January.
4 months.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a coding round, which was the first round. Then there were two rounds which were held together. One was the HR round, the other was the technical round.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I think these are all the questions that we had. Thank you for the lovely interview. You're an inspiration to everyone aspiring to be a successful software engineer, regardless of their stream. Okay, so viewers, if you want to reach out to Dee regarding any personal queries, then be sure to connect with her on LinkedIn. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really great speaking to you guys. It was a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On